Mr. Lawson, thank you so much for visiting SC State, pouring that knowledge and encouragement into students, faculty, and staff who are here. So this is also your first time here.
Yes.
And South Carolina in general.
My first time in South Carolina. I'm trying to think of whether I played golf in one of the coastal golf courses. Is Hilton Head in South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I've been to South Carolina.
So you've been to South Carolina. Well, still, welcome to South Carolina State University.
Yes.
We really appreciate your time being here. So we know who Richard Lawson is, but I like to open up by asking, who is Richard Lawson?
Well, you know, that's always an interesting question because, you know, when you look at the expanse of time that you've been on this planet and all that you've done and who you are, you know, if I had to define myself or describe myself, I guess the one thing that I would look at is like, what is my purpose in terms of defining who I am? And, you know, I believe that my purpose is really to help people to achieve their dreams. I'm particularly focused on young people, artists, young artists. Like I have a young artist program. Mm-hmm. Kids that were with me from 12, and the first group is now 20, and I look at what they've accomplished. And so, you know, and I look at who they are and what they've become, and the things that they're doing in the world, and I have a tremendous sense of accomplishment. You know, the poets and the directors and the writers and the animators and the just genuine, decent people. And I take a tremendous amount of pride in that because what they've learned is what they drew from the culture that I've created. And so, you know, if there was something to be put on my tombstone, it was like, you know, I aided in the development of young people.
Mm. So at what point do you think that you came to realization what your purpose was?
I had a moment in 1970 where I was doing a musical called Golden Boy, and in the final song on closing night, I had a revelation. God just spoke to me and said, this is why I put you on this earth. This is what you're here to do. Mm. And I have never questioned that from that moment, March 7th, 1970, to this moment right here, that I've been very clear about what my path, what my journey was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So I've had really, 55 years of contentment, real sense of satisfaction, because it's sort of like I've had GPS. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of rerouting, but it was always destined to go to that place.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. And you're also a plane crash survivor.
Yeah.
So after that, was that another realization of like, I really have a purpose here now?
Well, I knew my purpose before then, mm-hmm. but what that did was sort of like it's sort of like a lens. It's interesting because if you look at your purpose through the lens of life, there are times when the picture doesn't change, but it's like these cameras that you got, the cameraman will be on the camera and then walk away and come back, and then he'll have to adjust the focus or something because something has moved. And it's like you got to adjust the focus. So in life, you got to keep adjusting the focus because things get blurred. Circumstances and situations, lifing will blur the image, and you got to keep adjusting it. So that's the rerouting, adjusting the focus.
Yeah.
And so I've had to adjust the focus many times over the years, but the image never changed.
Yeah. I like that analogy. I'm going to use that to my everyday life then.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate
I
that.
just made that up, and I like that too.
On the spot.
It was like, as I was saying it, I was like, oh, that's good, that's good.
I really appreciate that, yeah. So I want to talk about how it all started from you in the business of acting, producing, and you even have your own studio, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how it all started from you, from beginning.
Well, back in 19, in terms of what I'm doing, my life is one thing in terms of up to the point of when I became an actor. I lived in every project in Oakland. The worst one, Cornice's Village, my father was a barber there. And so there was a certain milieu, barbershop. Barbershops, you go to the barbershop and, and all the people talking shit in the barbershop. And, you want to know what's going on in the world. You could either read, in those days, you would either read Jet magazine, and that information was 2 weeks old, or you can go to the barbershop or the beauty shop, and you're going to find out current fairs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You find out what's happening. That's where all the gossip was going down and stuff, and you knew that you were hearing fish stories. It's the reality was that it was just a minnow, but by the time you hear it, it's a killer whale.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that barbershop, and then another project, and then another project, and so I grew up in that space. And you learn who you are in the process. And being that my mother and father got divorced, I was, I had to teach myself how to be a man because I had to take care of my mother and my sister. I was a surrogate father, a surrogate husband. And you learn a lot about life, and then you become a caretaker in terms of taking care of people, taking care of them, and other people come to you because you're a great ear, you know how to listen, and so that sort of set a groundwork for me in terms of how I developed as a human being. And then I went to college and got out or tried to sneak out the side door to go in the business and started my own furniture moving business with my cousin. And I got drafted 3 months in and had to go to Vietnam, which is a whole experience in and of itself, in terms of being a medic. You learn about people, because as a medic, people come to you and you're the only person that says, hey, let me see that wound, and you touch and you hold and you check the wound, the boil on their hand, and you lance it and you talk about care, and that touch and closeness becomes, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Doc? Yeah. And then you hear about the wives, about the trouble at home, the wife left them, this, that, and the other, and so you become a psychologist. And I believe in terms of growing up, being a psychologist, friend, listener, army, where you become the medic, where you become the social worker, caretaker, ear, best friend, that gives you a kind of training into human beings and
Yes, sir.
who human beings are. And so as an actor, and when I became an actor, I was able to use all of that knowledge in my work. if you were here earlier, you know, I was talking to one young Zari, I believe her name was, and we were talking about her trauma and how she can use her trauma as an artist and put it in her work, because that's the only place that you can healthfully use it.
Yeah.
Where you're able to see, you know, you look at Robert De Niro and you look at Denzel and Sam, behind these wonderful characters they create, there's a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
You look at my character in Beauty and Black, Norman.
Trauma.
To the nth degree. Times 10.
Yes,
you know,
indeed.
He got issues.
Yeah.
But you put that in the characters, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you see some of my trauma in Norman, you know, in terms, that's where I'm able to put that, you know, as short of, you know, in confessions in the Catholic Church, you know, you go into confession. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I used to. That's the one thing I loved about the Catholic Church. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Yes, my son. And then you reveal, you know, whatever your issues were as a young boy, you know. And then you have to go out and do 1,000 Hail Marys and 2,700 act of contritions, you know, pray it off. But yeah, so you put that into the work.
Yeah.
I know I done went all crisscross.
I know you good, because everything that you talked about, we're gonna talk about it later on. However, I heard that you wanted to be a lawyer before being an actor. Is that true?
Yeah, I was going to be a lawyer.
So what happened? Why did your mindset change?
It changed really by accident. I mean, it was the evolution. You know, I was going to be a lawyer. I went to talk. So I got out of the service. When I came back from Vietnam, you know, I applied to get out of the service 3 months early to go to school. They let you out 3 months early, and the only school I can get into was junior college. So I went to junior college, and I said, well, junior college, I want to be a lawyer. It's no law classes here, but there's debate. I can go and debate because I know eventually I'm going to be debating in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So I went over to the department. I sat down, and as soon as I sat down, I heard these steps coming down the hallway. We were in a room, and I heard it coming down the hallway, and I knew it was a woman because it was different between flat shoes and high heel shoes.
Yes.
So it was high heel shoes, right? But heavy, like heavy footed, like it's a big woman, whoever that is, right? It's a big woman, right? Person walked in the room and said, whose voice is that? And I turned around and looked at this little 4'10", little small woman.
Yeah.
And I thought, dang, she got some heavy feet for her. She sounded like, you know, walking with purpose.
Yeah.
A strong woman. She said, whose voice is that? I said, who are you talking about? She said, you. What are you doing at 3:30 today? I said, well, she said, good. Come to room 708. She changed my life. I went to 708. She got me involved in Reader's Theater, which I then later went on to become state champion and undefeated. And then the drama coach asked me to get involved in do this musical. And I did. And that course took me, you know, it was like, you know, it's sort of like if you're in position headed towards battle, and then one plane veers off and goes its own way. You know, I veered off into art.
Yeah, shout out to that lady.
Yeah,
Whoever that was, right?
Yeah, she was amazing. I hope she's still living. Probably not.
Yeah.
No, because at my age, I know she's probably gone, but she made a big difference in my life.
Yes, most definitely. Now I want to talk about your visit here. So you had a 2-day master class here. What was your goal when speaking to these students, faculty, and staff members who were here?
My goal was to empower them through my book to take a look at their dreams and and then to write their dreams up. And we talk about how to turn your dreams into reality. How do you take this dream and create a direction and a journey for yourself that is real, that is designed by you, implemented by you. Most people, if you ask 10 different people, has anyone ever asked you about what your dream is? Or have you ever written your dream out?
Yeah.
8 out of 10, maybe 8.97 out of 10 is going to tell you no.
Yeah.
Because nobody ever asked a question. So that means that you have come into life and you have looked around, and somebody described it today is like they were like a shotgun that you shoot and then bullets spread and you sort of like, you know, you're everywhere in terms of the target versus being a laser beam. And so as a teacher, what I've discovered is most people don't have the sense of direction. They haven't locked down why. And what I discovered as a teacher is that someone who understands why, that they are more forward-leaning. They sit in the front. They're interested. People who don't have a why, they sit in the back and they lean back and they scoot down and they're relaxed. Versus intentional, hungry, sponge-like, and forward.
Yeah.
Taking copious notes. I'd go to class and there was a seat in the front row. There are no names on seats.
Yeah.
But everybody in that room knew that was my seat. Don't sit in it. And I always got there before everybody else, so it was usually open. But if I was working, going doing a film, and I got to class a little late, I would walk in, somebody would be in my seat, and then you'd see people saying, we're going to see what's happening right here.
Yeah.
And I'd walk up and I'd stand there and I'd be polite and I'd say, hey, what's up? They'd say, I'm good. Okay. I'm just waiting for them to get the message. Like, get your ass up.
Yeah.
That's my seat. They would get it and get up.
Yeah.
Because that's where I sat. And I claim that seat because that's the seat where I could sit forward. Nobody's in my way because I'm interested.
Yeah.
I have copious notes. Notes from way back. I keep notes. I write things down. I tape everything. I've been teaching class for all those years, and I have tape of every class I've ever taught. I might have 100 terabytes of information, classes. Just collecting. That book is a collection of notes.
Yeah.
Audio. Where if I'm a teacher and you're the student and you just did a scene, it's on tape.
Yeah.
It's on tape. We film it and audio it. And a lot of those conversations I use as teaching. You'll see. But anyway, yeah. So it's about being interested and following. If you understand your purpose, I can teach through someone who's open. You can't teach through a frown. And if someone doesn't have a North Star, then they can get caught up in the circumstance and the frustration of the journey, whereas somebody who has clear about it, you know, it's sort of like there was this thing when I was a kid that you couldn't knock it down. So you hit it, it'd go down, and it'd come right back up.
Yeah.
You go there, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's just, you can't, it ain't staying down. And that's what you have to have in this career, is just the resilience to get back up. Get back up, can't knock it down.
Yeah.
Can't keep it down.
Zaria Sumter, which is the student who you were talking about, she got emotional.
Yeah.
And you also made her come up there
Yeah.
and just get all of it out.
Yeah.
Pour out.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind in that moment? And what was your reasoning behind that?
I was interested in what was going on in her mind. So if you were there obviously, and you saw it, right? So she told us by what she said what her stops were. Why can't you write your dream out? Because it's too much, because I think about taking care of my family, I'm not going to be able to take care of this, I can't do that. And you heard all of the considerations, which are like filters. Now, if you've had anything, you know, a filter in your car, if it stops working, your car can't run. Filter on your refrigerator, it doesn't get cold. Filters prevent things from going through. What she clearly talked about was the filters. It's sort of like trying to see you through the cracks.
Yeah.
It blocks the flow. So you can't really be open, free, you know.
Yeah.
And what I know as a teacher is that teaching through filters is you are dealing with watching potential be suppressed. And it forces people into working, again, going back to the car filter. If the filter cannot utilize the fuel that drives it forward, and you have to press on the gas harder and harder for the car to go, you burn up fuel, you burn up the engine, you burn things up, and pretty soon that car comes to a stop and just sits on the side of the road, versus cleaning that up, creating a condition where that car has a fully functioning engine that is not limited, that is given the freedom to be all that it can be. And then you see that in art, and you see that in your favorite actors. You see that in Denzel. Denzel is one of my favorite actors. He's also a peer. I did plays with Denzel. We're friends. You know, I did a play I starred in. He was a co-star. You know, but he's one of my favorite actors. And so you know, and he's free. He's free. He doesn't have filters.
That filter is what keeps a lot of people back from showing emotion, being their true selves.
Freedom is having nothing to hide. So I try to get actors to get to a place where they have nothing to hide. Kind of hard living life with one hand behind your back. Yeah, man, come on, let's get it. You know, you fighting with one hand behind your back. That's a fight you're going to lose. Let's get a lucky punch in. You know?
Wow, okay, so that was deep. That was deep, and I love that you did that, because you had me back there thinking like, wow, do I need to cry? It was one of those type moments, you know?
And let me just say this. At her age, how critical is that?
Yeah.
How critical. She's at a discerning point. She's graduating. She's getting ready to go out into life. Now it's getting ready to step up to a whole nother level, if she's on her own or not, you know, and you could lose her to her own considerations.
Yeah.
At this point, and this talented, brilliant, beautiful, attractive woman who will be playing leading ladies, charming leading ladies,
Yeah.
you know, having sexuality, turning people on, making people love her.
Yeah.
Or she winds up being something else.
Yeah. So did you see something in her before
Absolutely.
calling onto her?
Absolutely. After you do this for a while, if you're in a position and if you are willing to see, or let me put it another way, if you're willing to be seen and you're willing to see, then you can perceive. If you hiding behind you got your own considerations.
Yeah.
Then you can't see other people's considerations. Or your ability to see other people's considerations is dim based upon what you're hiding. To the degree that I'm hiding is the degree that I'm not willing to see.
Yeah.
And that's the degree I'm not able to perceive. And if I'm in a teaching position and I can't perceive, then what am I doing? I'm just passing information from one book to you. And I'm not saying in none of that is do as I do, because I ain't doing it because I'm scared to do it or I got considerations. I'm just passing on information.